Our second key panelist coming up, Allysha, Yvonne, Juin. She's a head of marketing with Ecotech. Can we have a big round of applause for Allysha? So Anjali, as you're aware, she's a global leader with 23 years of experience driving digital transformation and digital marketing. We have Allysha. She's a marketing leader with more than 10 years of experience in brand strategy, digital marketing, and campaign execution. Can we have a big round of applause for both of her? Our third key panelist, Ian John. He's an advisor, CEO's office from GDEX, Berhad. Can we have a big round of applause for Ian? So Ian is a versatile leader who operates at the intersection of sales, technology, and BI. Can we have a big round of applause for Ian again? Our next panelist coming up, Anwer Khan. He's a managing director with OMD. Can we have a big round of applause for Anwer? Anwer having 20 years plus experience in media finance and currently MD of OMD, a part of Omnicom Media. Our next key panelist coming up, Colin Anderson. He's a CEO with Asia Brandpie. Can we have a big round of applause for Colin? He has spent 30 years of experience helping organizations across Asia navigate complex brand and business challenges. So good to have you, Colin. And our moderator, our annual survey key partner, James Cooper Jones, and also on the cover page of Digi Magazine, Volume 6, Issue 6, CEO with Survey Kiwi. Can we have a big round of applause for James?
So earlier in the day, we've been talking a little bit about the elephant in the room for marketing, which is AI, and some of the earlier panels were about actual products and things and more tactical things we can do. This panel, talking with the panelists in our sessions before today, was we wanted to focus more on strategy. So adapt or die. We need, as marketers, to be using AI and tools, but we also need to continue our relevance and resonate with our market. So that's where we're going to focus our conversation today, is to focus on strategies. But we need to, talking about a global economy, we've got people here with a wide range of experience from all around the world. And we've been networking well. I've seen everyone networking well, which has been great. So just a shout out to Piccolo's Corner. So Colin and I were chatting earlier, and I've recently moved back from Japan to Perth, Australia. And my favourite local second office cafe, we discovered, is run by Colin's daughter. So we agreed we'd give her a shout out to Piccolo's Corner. So if you're heading to Perth, look it up. It's a very good spot. Well, welcome panellists. Glad to have you along. So moving, I guess, to probably start off with Anjali, perhaps starting off with you in the question. So you've got a lot of experience working with teams around the world, and in this AI-enabled world, I guess, how do we continue to have that real customer experience?
That's a very good question, and there are two parts to it, right? And again, it goes back to what I was presenting today in the morning as well, right? See, you can only make a good product when you also understand your own people, because at some point in time, they're also the consumers of your things, right? Your services. So today, the world that we all carry, we all live in, is a lot of things are changing at a very, very fast pace, right? What we really need to do is to understand from our own people what their concerns are, what their worries are, what are their general challenges, right? So again, it is not tied to only one geography that you might be actually working with, or you have your team in. It can be wherever your people are, right? Talk to your people, understand their worries, understand their concerns, and make them allow them to get into the new world of fast-paced technology, right? And tell them that that can be used to enhance their creativity further. It is not replacing their creativity, right? What is happening today in some way or the other, the way we are communicating our messages across to our teams, right? We are not transferring the right information back to them. We are saying, okay, bring me efficiency, bring me the ROI, and then they are struggled, right? Okay, I can only bring in by actually bringing some tools into it, right? And learning those tools. And that's where your customer experience goes for a for a toss. Because you're bringing speed, but no efficiency and effectiveness eventually, right? Today's efficiency will be actually a damage tomorrow if you don't do it appropriately. Hence, strategy first is very, very important. See, somebody was asking me this question, is AI first marketing? I said, there is nothing called AI first marketing, by the way, right? There's something called, do you understand the strategy? Do you understand how you do your business? Do you understand at what point in time you can remove some boring job that humans do and replace it with a machine, right? And then have humans do the things that they can really add value on, right? Adding emotions, adding logic, right? Coming up with a genuine idea which nobody else can actually reproduce, right? Can we empower our team to think that ways? If we are able to, you don't only empower your own team, but you also end up achieving what is called customer satisfaction. So that's my, honest opinion on the question that you had.
So I guess what you're saying is with AI tools we have now, we can sometimes mistake if we don't communicate well with our teams that product, content is the goal, and that's not the goal. The goal is ROI and connection with our target audience. Yeah,
if I would say ROI, ROI is an end product at the end of the day, right? We definitely need, because we are doing a lot of money, expenditure is actually happening from a marketing perspective, right? We need ROI. But what is a method of getting ROI, right? Am I trying to get a short-lived ROI, which can result into a long-term damage? We have to be very careful about it. If you don't have a strategy, you will actually get tempted with short-term ROIs, right? You will not create a longevity. You will not create that trust that we were talking about since morning, right? So to gain trust, you will have to compromise on immediate returns and look for a long-term benefits that you will get as a brand. Because we are not there for a 1 month, 2 month, 1 year, 2 year, right? That's not the objective. The objective is to stay there in the market for a longer period of time. And you can only be there when you understand people and have methods around new invention or innovations that you do. So my answer to your question is yes, ROI is very important, right? Attach your ROI to your strategy, to your vision statement, right? Your strategy and vision statement should be a paramount activity, and then use tools appropriately so that you can meet them, right? And transparency is very important. For example, today in the morning I was showing you this Marks and Spencer's case, right? Efficiency they're trying to bring in, right, by using AI models, right? But there is a consent of an agreement of the models themselves, right? And we've been transparent. When I'm saying we, I'm talking on not behalf of Marks and Spencer, but making a statement. We as a marketer are also making it, humans aware, people like yourself aware that this is what we are doing in terms of our marketing initiatives, right? So that's the long but short answer to your question.
Good, very good response. So for our takeaways, we always have strategic and then tactical plans. Strategic is still the humans, and AI can be a tool for the tactical plan, is what we're talking about. That kind of segues, maybe, I'll throw this to Anwer. We're seeing a lot of content marketing and other marketing has always been very expensive, and now we're seeing a lot of kind of synthetic and other kind of tools that are available to us. Are they a good thing or a bad thing, or is there a balance to be struck there?
I think change is inevitable, so it's going to happen. Adaptability as we go along is something that I value, but at this point of time, there are huge forces which are coming up. Now, that is, you have got a new tool in your hand, and you're trying to explore as to what can I do with it. Human tendency is that we try and run towards which is very easy and easy to be done, which has done a lot of damage to marketing itself, because now if you were to see globally, margins are shrinking, and the brief on marketing translates from, let's say that's the problem statement that you need to achieve, it goes down to how cost effectively can you go there. Now, from coming back to the fact that I'm just giving a general sense in terms of like what's going on. So that's one aspect that we have started to chase. So we started with, let's say, 2 decades back, we were talking about reach and GRPs. The current generation, which is about to die now, which is more about in terms of clicks and engagements. That's what the people are chasing. But now it's changed to attention. So if you look at McKinsey talking about it or Lupian talking about it, they're saying that the attention span for a display ad, which our agencies do, is less than 1 second. And if I were to look around and say that you might have come across a lot of brands today while coming here, you wouldn't recognize any. So I think the creativity from a content perspective, when we are going out, if everyone starts doing and the easy step in terms of AI, it will result in similar kind of product. So it would be, everything looks the same. And today is differentiation, which becomes the most expensive currency. So if differentiation is more expensive currency, then which means that the formula that you're asking about synthetic and content, my formula is 80% has to be on original thinking, and 20% of synthetic you can use to scale it. So you've produced original content, which is, I would say, not perfect. It needs to have those kind of nitty-gritties that it doesn't look AI copied, because right now it takes seconds for the generation to actually check whether this is authentic or not. Your entire AI principle is based on authenticity. So I would say 80% has to be the original content, then use the 20% to actually scale it. You go back like 1,000 impressions, reaching out to perfect audiences, trying to find out like a person who needs a red Mercedes is a different than a person who's looking for a BMW. So then you can use those to scale in. So I would say both are hand to hand because we are short on time. So you can scale it by using that, but both play a role, but we have to be very careful. But the young generation coming in is very difficult because it's very complex, because I don't know how many, but I am a millennial. So from a millennial standpoint, it's a way different. We are basically based on experience. We actually love something that is experience. Gen Zs are way different. They are more about speed. But how do we try and translate speed? When AI is also there, we might make a miss point there. So it has to be differentiation with the original content, which takes the pie of about 80% and 20% synthetic would do.
That's great. So a great takeaway.
Yeah,
80% original and then 20% amplification.
Sorry,
Anjali?
I had a point that I wanted to add. I'm so sorry. I just sometimes get, excited with some topics, right? Very rightly, you were mentioning about this, trust and all of these things and how we are designing solutions. There is a framework that I actually came across called ART framework, right? Which is, the ART stands for, it has to be authentic. R stands for reliable and T stands for trust, right? A lot of brands are going towards this ART framework. So I just wanted to make that point, because while we are ideating and using tools whatever we want to, we have to ensure all three things are actually met. Yeah, thank you.
No, good comments. I might just ask a question to the audience. Probably a no-brainer question 5 years ago, but I don't know what about it is now. But can you tell when you get AI-generated content in your feeds? Maybe a show of hands for a yes. Yeah. So pretty much everyone's saying we can see it. So Anwer, do you think it's something synthetic, something we should just ignore, or do you think we can strike a balance?
I've been in Malaysia for the last 12 years, so I'll just give you an example from Malaysia. APAC as a region is way far ahead in terms of AI adoption compared to the world. So we are actually the lead. We are actually showing the world like how we need to move. Malaysia specifically, the adoption rate for AI is 67%. So which means that today's searches in Malaysia, the person actually goes to AI and search. But you would be shocked to know that there is 5% of trust. So which means if you were to go all synthetic, or if you were to move in that direction, you are going against 95% of the total Malaysian audience which does not trust AI. So if it is a feed, they're not going to trust you. So that's why bit of imperfection, creativity, originality in terms of content is what will create that differentiation in the mind. Because I can tell you, even when I'm going through the feed, my mind actually goes back and says that whether this AI generated or not, and I think we all do it, and nothing is very rocket science. We are human, we know what the human nature is. So fact of the matter is that, like I said, the scale and going based on that, I would still say that it's more to do with originality as we move along. Yeah.
It's good comments. Kind of segues to maybe Ian, I'll ask you this question. You've got a lot of experience operationally, and so talking now about implementing these strategies operationally. How can we effectively do that?
So before I answer that question, perhaps peace and love to all of you. There's a lot of things happening around the globe, so I think it's good to address that point.
Very good.
So my experience was mostly around sales, software sales. So operation and strategy has its own correlation. But even before you operate or implement a strategy, it's important to realize your own DNA, what your company represents. So the framework is SWOT analysis at a very basic, because everyone is looking for differentiation. So if you are going into the masses and competing with other companies who are also in that field, and you don't compete well, basically your marketing dollar will be wasted. So what I'm saying is, for a starting point, management should be clear about what goals they want to achieve, and what is their company representing in terms of greater value, and how you want to market it is a second thought. Yeah, so I believe knowing who you are is the first step as a company. Thank you.
Great comments. Great comments. I really agree 100%. That kind of segues to Allysha. We've just heard from Ian on the operational and sales side. Now talking about the marketing side, you've got great experience at the coalface of marketing around the world. How do we get this right? Do we use automation and synthetics, or do we not? And how do we keep that real for our target market?
Right, so I have to agree with Anjali just now mentioned about the human points, human connection. So we, as marketeers, as brand owners, we have to look beyond technological adoption, and then we need to see the human points with it. How does it make your customer feel? Sorry, I'm hearing myself. Yeah, but it's fine, it's fine. So anyway, what was I meant? Oh, yeah, we must look beyond technological adoption, and we have to see human points connection within your brands. And then to do this, you need to have strategic simplification, because you see, we as customers, and we have all this technology, we want everything to be seamless. We are seamless across devices, apps, motion, sound, and all that, you know. So to do so, we need to be selective rather than trend chasing. A lot of people think that evolution is all about trend chasing, is about doing more and keep on feeding people with more things. But actually, all you need to do is to be more selective on which platform you should go and whether this trend is suitable for my brand or whatnot. One good example I just want to give is Colgate. We all know Colgate is a big brand. You don't even call toothpaste as toothpaste, even though you're using Dali, and you'll be like, where's my Colgate, you know? So they have one extreme marketing failure back in the 60s, between the 60s and 80s. Back then when microwavable food was the in thing, so they tried to jump into this bandwagon. They tried to jump into a trend that is not emotional, or that has not emotional or functional overlap with their current brand, you know. So this kind of brand identity actually collapse, and then people think that, oh, I'm not going to eat a Colgate food. It's like, oh, no. So that line actually died because of that. So not every trend is suitable for you. You need to be very selective. Yeah, thank you.
No, great comments. And do you think we can use AI and still be a human brand, or not?
Of course, we can use AI to optimize your performance, but not as the only thing that drives you forward, because you need to have that identity yourself as a brand. You need to know as a brand, what do you want to convey to your customers? Thank you.
So I think we're getting a consistent theme here that the whiteboard exercise focus with your team to say who are we as a brand still remains. That's not changed. But we can use AI to implement that strategy, is kind of the theme I'm getting. That kind of segues for you, Colin, here. How do we, I mean, we heard one story now about Colgate and how they almost damaged a brand. Is it possible to erode a brand and damage a brand with AI?
Okay, so let me use an example that happened only very, very recently. I think it was during the Boston Marathon, right? So Nike, one of my favorite brands. So I thought that they were really good, but then they ran this advertising campaign based on the fact that they said, runners welcome, walkers tolerated. And what happened was they had this huge backlash from people, well, actually, people who wear running shoes actually do walk as well. And a lot of other brands like Eco came up with campaigns that kind of countered that. So just like you were saying, it's a matter that you must be true to your brand. So maybe one of the things I could address during the question, it really helps me to open things up. I mean, I'm come from a creative background, so I was originally a designer for about 20 years, designing what we used to call the brand identity. Now what I find in the last 20 years since then is that I've really focused on identity being a matter of saying who you are, what purpose do you serve, how should you be positioned, what is your personality, what is the promise that you're offering in the marketplace, and then ultimately then you can talk about then how you go to market, what products are relevant. And it's a really important thing to ask yourself before, the CMO, before all of you guys start to do all of the AI work, do I really know the purpose for my product or my purpose of my service? It's not just about making money. If you take the money part out of the equation, you ask the board, you ask the management team, what are you in the business of? It's a really interesting question to ask, and that's where I always start, because ultimately my job is to tell a story. And if I haven't got a great story to tell, there isn't anything else I can do. So I say to you, so what is your purpose? Why should you exist? Why are you different from everybody else? Why should anybody care? And then you find when you start to peel back the layers of the onion and get down to the fundamental, when you really find that truth, and I call it a compelling truth, because one, it has to be compelling, and two, it absolutely has to be true. And if it's a compelling lie, I don't last very long. I sink very quickly. And if it's an uncompelling truth, it means that everybody kind of goes, oh yeah, well, who cares? So you've really got to find that kind of sweet spot. So, how do I kind of do that? And then, again, today, I've heard a lot of things, and I've actually learned quite a lot. I really enjoyed listening to you guys speak. So if I was to add something to what you could take away, I actually call it brand DNA. And just like humans, the business that you're building, the business that you're working for has a DNA. And I recently did a project for one of the leading law firms in Singapore, and there's about 4. We developed one where they had a fantastic line, which was lawyers who know Asia. Great line, fantastic. So my new client, I have to beat myself, come up with a better line than that. So the point is here, is I asked the management team, who is the most important audience? So they all said, our clients first. I said, who's second? Oh, our partners, in the region. Okay. And who's third? Oh, our employees. I said, actually, you got it all wrong. It's the wrong way round. The first people you have to convince are your employees. If they don't believe it, why should anybody else? And if your partners aren't committed to exactly the same things, then why should your customers actually trust you? And, going back to my first story, when you talk about Nike and you talk about how they say, something like, runners welcome, walkers tolerated, what it's saying is that they're very selective, they're very exclusive, and they actually are ignoring a whole bunch of people that should be buying their products. So the marketing team haven't understood what business they are in. They are not in the business of just appealing to runners. They are creating a lifestyle product that should appeal to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So does that answer the question, or have I taken a long, winding road?
No, I think that's very much answered the question. So do you think there's a risk with AI that the tail starts wagging the dog? I mean, we've probably all got our preferred AI tools. The couple I use, they're always very complimentary. They're always like, James, that's the best strategy I've ever heard. And it's like, okay, thank you very much. No pay rises for you. But is there a risk, do you think then, that we let the tail end up wagging the dog?
If you think that AI, and you think about all our marketing tools, they are tools, they're enablers, but they also amplify very, very quickly. That's the difference between now and the past, is that very quickly, and I think one of the speakers brought up this point about when they're talking about omni-channel, that really what happens here is that there is no kind of marketing funnel anymore. People come across a product at different times, at different parts of the journey. It's all ubiquitous. And also, thinking about it, that your employees could also be your customers. You know, your shareholders are also your customers. So it's no longer that you can think about market segmentation in the same way. So, you know, what does AI do? It amplifies a bad story really fast. So just make sure, before you go down that route, before you start to push things out, make sure that you've got the thing right in the first place. So, you know, thinking about your DNA, thinking about the thing that makes you tick. What is it? What purpose do you serve? That simple question can address a lot of things. I think somebody was talking about earlier about ethics. And I thought it was an interesting question about, you know, before you think about what you market, for me, I don't want to work for people who make weapons. I don't want to work for people who are enforcing gambling, you know, or you know, things that have a negative impression. I already sort of censor myself, saying these are not the projects I want to do. And that's how I manage my brand, is that I make sure that I have a truth in what I want to do, so that, you know, when I'm working for clients, I keep true to that. So it's the same thing for you guys. When you're working, you must have these guiding principles, these guardrails, to be able to protect the long-term sustainability of your brand.
Very good.
Thank you so very much. Few additions here. You know, this was really great hearing you. 3 things I want to add before I forget, right? So the very first one that I wanted to address was this very interesting thing. Today we have so many tools, as my friend was also talking about, right? As a marketer, we can get confused because AI will definitely come back and say whatever you're thinking is absolutely correct, right? So what I personally do, I don't rely on one tool. I will use multiple tools for the same set of question, and I will crisscross the questions as well, so that I get the right answer, and I'm not again landing into a situation where, you know, my decisions are actually completely wrong and are influenced by a machine who is having a limited knowledge, right? So use multiple tools for the same question. Keep changing your question so that you get the right answer, an authentic answer in some shape and form. Second thing, you know, today, I think the previous panel that we had, right, we were talking about the seed industry, right, the farming industry. What really came out very appropriate, right? Today, with the advance of AI, we can actually do a secondary research very quickly, right? But not the primary. You cannot find a solution, build a solution basis your secondary research. Because if you do that, what will happen? You're far away from the reality. And your findings, your data, or I would say your reports will be absolutely incorrect. I can't name the companies, but there are 2 organizations or more than that actually got penalized for actually relying on the secondary data coming from AI, right? So there is no substitute for primary research, and that's very, very important. So get onto the floor, figure it out, ask people the question how they consume product and services, or what their challenges are, do your SWOT analysis. Use secondary research as a validation in some shape and form, right? So that's the second. The third that I wanted to address was, you know, one person from the team was actually asking here from the audience about the ethics, right? Predominantly, the question that was posed there was how, if somebody comes and talks about, right, I mentioned situation when I was very vulnerable, right? When I made a call to a Citibank, I ended up giving some information, right? the person who is hearing me, it is up to the rules and the guidelines that we give to our own employees, right? If the customer comes and makes a situation, asks a particular thing, you are in the health industry, you are in financial industry, obviously the person will come and speak about things, right? Your business is all about that vulnerability of a person, but how wisely, how genuinely you're solving those problems for an individual and you're putting your guardrails about data breach, you have done your job. We have to understand the business we all are in. Few of our businesses are about vulnerability of human beings, right? But we have to construct some guardrails that teach ethics to our own people first, yeah? Thank you.
I think that's a great comments, and I'll come back to Anwer, but Allysha, I have a question. We've talked a lot about amplification, and AI can amplify our strategies very well. But that means that can be both a positive and a negative. So if we're getting it right, it's going to get it right. But if it's getting it wrong, it goes bad very quickly. Do you agree? And what can we do to kind of monitor AI content generation and strategies? Any thoughts?
Yeah, so recently I was talking to this AI professor. He is the director of MIMOS Malaysia. MIMOS Malaysia is actually the research arm of in Malaysia. And he mentioned that AI actually doesn't feel for you. They just pretend to feel for you, you know. So yes, I have to agree with Colin just now. You need to know your brand's identity. I call it as your brand soul. This soul acts as a purpose, as a filter, as the why your brand exists beyond selling a commodity. Okay, so I think customers, they need to, brands need to know how does your customer feel when using your product. Do you provide them a sense of safety, a sense of belonging, ownership, you know, things like that. One good example, I would say Volvo. Volvo, since its establishment until now, and still is recognized as one of the safest car automotive brands in the world. It's because of how they create their brand identity. Their brand identity is all about safety and protecting lives. So whatever technological advances that they are bringing in and all that, it's all shaped towards protecting lives, you know. So they create this consistent brand storytelling. So people would know that, Volvo, I'm buying Volvo because I want to protect my family, I want to feel safe. Another one is to have authentic human connection. I'm going to give a lot of automotive example, like Harley Davidson. We know Harley Davidson. They actually don't sell bikes. They sell the idea of freedom. They sell the idea of rebellious. And then they also have one of the biggest active communities in the world, because they create that sense of belonging with their the Harley owners. They will ride together, and at one point they have like 10,000 riders going around and riding along together. So they sell this kind of ideas. This is what creating a consistent brand story should be. Yeah. So if you keep on, AI is great. Of course, it can create things at scale. It can predict your behavior, optimize your performance, give you good data. But you cannot just use that. You need to use that as a backup for you to support your idea. But you need to shift this all this data to convey to your target market what emotion I want to reach to my target market. You know, yeah.
So if I just thank you so much. You said something very interesting. Harley Davidson campaign that you're talking about was designed by my team. So yeah, so thank you. It's very good to recall. It was all about there was a competition that we had to do where we did not want to talk about selling Harley. Right? It was all about appreciating and recognizing people enthusiasm around riding. Right? So we did 3 campaigns. So the first one that you're talking about was supposed to get inaugurated by King of Jordan, right? And there were almost 25 riders, right? They were asked to roam around Europe and then while they were roaming around, we were capturing them digitally, right? And then the routes that they were taking, right, everything was digitally captured. So that's about celebrating people and their passion towards riding. So thanks for helping me recall that. Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I just want.
Yeah, Anwer, you've got some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to start by saying that the Nike campaign worked. I shifted to New Balance now. So apart from that, I think I wanted to say, for us mostly, not the budding stars who are just trying to come up with their new companies, I think that's good. But most of the people sitting here, for us, it's maybe 10, 15 years more in the field. The biggest point which scares me right now, we all will be talking in the same language, that authenticity, all this. But the new generation which is coming, they have a different idea altogether. I mean, yeah, because we are from this generation, I would say, yeah, this, other generations would have other idea, because I would say that I grew up, but mobile was introduced, so I looked that as a tool, and now it became part of me. So anything that new has come for us as a generation, it has always been a tool. So we will always refer it like a tool. The latest Claude, which is the Opus 4.7, is a beast. So forget about like saying job and all that, it will replace everything. The younger generation does not see technology as a tool. They do see it as an extension. So, I don't know.
It's where they live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's say important meeting presentations, if I'm sending my team or I'm sending my strategy officer or the directors to come back and all that, at times it has happened that they are not able to explain the slide because they have taken it from GPT, Gemini, Claude, or whatever. I cannot stop that behavior because it's part of their extension. So what I see the biggest, coming generation, it will be even much worse because you are limiting the human tendency of innovation, or how do we think creatively, because if everything is fed, I don't need to get up and drink water, I'm lying here, then I will become fatter, right? Like, they just keep on eating. That's exactly what's going to happen with this, because we can keep on talking, but the new generation is not going to go in that direction. So they will have a different idea or definition for this, how they use it. But yeah, I mean, that's what I want.
I'm so sorry. I'm pretty sure you're going to be hating me and then scolding me once we step out. No. Yeah. So very valid question and very valid thought, but we don't have to get scared. I'll tell you why. Because as we are sitting here and saying that, people will stop innovating, they're just using tools, they can't come back and present whatever they have put together. That's a reality. What will happen, there are new kids who are actually coming up. Now the school education is getting changed as well. So I was actually part of a conversation with some education seniors, right? And they are saying they are also using AI, but they are asking people to actually go back and present what they have actually written. They can use AI for research and everything, but if they are not able to present it without the slides, your job is done. You won't be scored, right? Plus, I was reading an article in US, there's a college coming over which is powered by AI completely. They are teaching students the human skills. But again, using AI as a method to teach, right? And they won't be 8-hour schools, it'll be 2-hour schools as well, where they'll be given real lifetime scenarios to experiment on and come up with the results, right? So I think while it's very, very good that we're announcing that, danger, because it might so happen that tomorrow people don't know even how to write or do their signatures. That's a problem with most of us as well. But very soon, because it's all like this circle, whatever goes up goes down as well, declines as well. Very soon we will start valuing and rewarding the human pure skills, and they will become precious. So as long as we are able to educate our own kids, I think the job will be okay.
Yeah, and we're seeing around the world that cycle where offline parties are becoming popular, people are looking for that offline engagement, which becomes a premium then. Yep. So mindful of time, but we might get a final word on.
Yes.
Ian's got a point.
Yeah, just one point. So AI is not all it says it can do. You need to run different algorithms to perform certain actions. So what AI is? So AI is basically a technology that uses neural network and machine learning. So you may also view workflow automation as AI. You may also see basic tech tools as AI, but it's not. So before the business can implement AI effectively, they need to go on a journey. And most companies are still at the phase of digitization, where they're converting documents into soft copies and virtual formats. The next phase that they will grow into is called digitalization, where they're actually automating some of their basic core operations. Then you're looking at digital transformation, where you're looking at the culture of using tech as part of your work. And finally, then you're looking at AI. So if you have not gone through these first 3 or 4 stages, saying AI, you are being enabled in a company is not true at all. And of course, AI without domain expertise is not good. AI with garbage data in is also not good. So either amplifies what you don't know or amplifies what you know. Yeah, so just...
Great comments. Colin?
Okay, I just wanted to use a point that you were making earlier about the Volvo brand as part of my final comment. So it's interesting, you mentioned safety. Okay, so safety is great. It's a great positioning. And they used that through the 60s and the 70s. Fantastic. And people think, oh, Volvo, they think of safety. The problem is that when everybody becomes safe, every brand becomes safe, then it no longer becomes a differentiator. Then it becomes a table stake. So my point was about telling a compelling truth. It has to be compelling. It has to be true. So in case of Volvo, of course, safety is true, but it is no longer compelling. So you really have to do a bit of navel gazing to say to yourself, okay, that's how we used to position ourselves. Is it relevant to today? And then again, those kind of questions, you find your compelling truth. You find the thing that resonates with the community, resonates with your customers, resonates with your employees, and then you can start to perpetuate it. So that's my final comment. Yeah.
Great comments. And probably a similar scenario with Tesla, which Tesla was EV, and now there's BYD, Chery, and so many other options that are now EVs as well. So adapt or die. We're learning that the strategic plan is the human, the tactical plan can be AI. And we have to be careful that the tail doesn't start wagging the dog. And then we're learning here that our demographics are changing. So although technology was a tool we use for our generation, there's a generation coming and becoming increasingly with every year a bigger part of our buyer market where they live in technology. And so we may need to adapt our strategies. Any, Allysha, final word or no?
Yeah, I have to agree that if you have that, you need to have your main core there, the main DNA, but there's also need to be a follow-up to that. So yes, the truth is important. You need to always be, you need to know what your brand should move towards to and always be consistent. I think that's the thing that we need to focus today. Yeah.
Great. Thanks everyone for your contribution. Just stay there and we might go to the floor for some questions. Any questions from the floor for the panel?
First of all, thanks for the very profound sharing. That's one of the reasons why I come here. Yeah, I hear a lot of professional knowledge from all the experts here, and my question is, so I'm now running 2 companies, both are startups, one in Vietnam and one in Singapore. So all you just discussed is kind of very profound, but I want to ask, what is the fastest practical way to build a long-lasting brand for a startup and in the AI industry? That's my question.
Congratulations on running 2 startups. I appreciate your lovely black hair at the moment. It will be grey very shortly.
It's just stressful. Thank you.
So how do we build a good, effective brand strategy for a startup? Would anyone like to have a crack at that one?
I think I would have loved to be in your shoes. Now we have just been working like 9 to 5 and that's end to it. But I think start with the problem. What exactly are you solving for? And that should be the crux of everything that you do. So solution to a problem, that should be ingrained in terms of that. And if you see the previous panelists when they talked about as well, you have to be consistent in terms of what you are as a solution in the market, and then continuously repeat that without any, you can improve it, but that's your DNA basically, going back to it. So if that is, like you need to hold that for whenever, like whatever you are trying to design, but that DNA should remain the essence of whatever you're trying to go to the market, which is the solution. Why do I exist? What do I solve in the market? What do my consumer want? And then talking to them, coming back very simplistically by telling them, this is your problem, right? I'm giving you a solution. So that's the entire, in simplistic manner. If you stay true to that, then that will go a long way.
Sorry.
I've got to just add to this, right? So when I do this for most startups, the first thing I say to them is what, how, who, and why. It's a really interesting set of questions to ask. What do you have? How do you do it? Who are you? And why do you do it? And if you compare that to all of the key competitors in your segment, if you look at what people are talking about in that segment, maybe they're talking about their infrastructure. So someone like Visa, everywhere you want to be, talks about their merchant network. So if that's a strong area and everybody's talking about that, maybe you should talk about something else. So something like how you do it. Federal Express, right? We live to deliver. It's not about their infrastructure. They have planes, they have vehicles, they have people, but what they focus on is their technology. You trust them to deliver their package to New York tomorrow because of their technology. So someone like, say, for instance, HSBC, very different to Visa, they say the world's most local bank. That is talking about who they are. Local know-how, global knowledge, right? Whether it's true or not, and that's not maybe not their compelling truth. But the fact is that it's a very effective way of talking about what they do, right? What they how their point of difference. So, you know, Harley Davidson, what did you say their promise was? You know, okay, so they're about, you know, hey, a bit of a revolution. They're a little bit like Nike, just do it. You know, it's about attitude, and it's about, you know, brand ambassadors, building a very strong relationship with the brand. So again, when you're a startup, you've got to think about, maybe I should talk about what, like what do I say when I talk about who, what do I talk about when I talk about how, and what is my why? And if I look at those and compare it to other people in my immediate competitive set, am I saying something that's unique and different, or am I saying something that sounds absolutely the same? So it's a really nice, interesting starting point for when you're doing this, okay?
Yeah.
Anjali,
So
any tips for a startup founder?
Yeah, just one addition, right? And it will be little very sharp, but that's how, you know, I want to take it. See, your precise question was, you know, how quickly, right?
Correct.
I can actually get what I want, right? So, but all the answers that we gave you, it's not about quick. There is nothing called quick. Right? Quick means you are talking about a very short life of your brand yourself, right? Your reason for why you want to do what you're doing is actually fundamentally incorrect. So what is very, very important, I know we all, see, I am also thinking of doing something for myself and I really want quick ROI, right? But I have to really figure it out. I'll ask a question to my own self. What am I creating? What is is this ask of, you know, whatever I'm making today, how long people would be needing this kind of service, right? What is the value I'm trying to create by making this product or selling this service? Is this a short-lived demand of people, or it is going to be long-term? Once you have that clarity, right, that yes, this is something that I'm trying to do, which will live for long because people will always have this kind of requirement. For example, mental health. till the human life will be there, mental health, thing will be required, right? Medical science applications, right? Coaching, education, all of these things will remain for longer period of time. But you need to figure out, what am I making? Till how long humans would continue to use that product and service? That actually tells you, is this brand or is this product going to last for long, or it will be short-lived. Now, second part of the question can be, how soon I can start getting ROI? You have to figure out who are your customers, right? And where they are available, how they can access your information. If you have those answers, I think you will start getting returns quite quickly. But understand what business I'm in and why I'm in there, and what is the value I'm creating for human life. Everything will be sorted with that.
Alyssa?
Yeah, so I just have to echo both of them. You need to know your customers' pain points, the short-term and the long-term pain points. You see, sometimes your short-term pain points will just end there, and then there's no follow-up to that. Will my customer come back to me after I solve this pain point? And so what will be my long-term pain points that I need to resolve? Yeah, so there's no, I have to echo Anjali, there's no quick a result to anything. My ex-boss used to tell me, you can't get a baby by making nine women pregnant in a month. So yeah, there's no quick solution to anything.
Hi panel, it's a great insight.
So I think in terms of doing it fast, it's possible because you got companies that are 25 years and above being disrupted by a company which is 2 or 3 year old. Yeah, so the fast and being patient is now expressed in a different form in terms of quality, consistency, and also whether the customer appreciates what you're doing. So back to the DNA, do you know yourself? It's the key question. Then scaling with technology is just afterthought.
Move fast and break things is the old startup motto. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to ask from the panel that everyone is here about talking the brand entering into the market. But I would like an insight, if a brand is fading out or gray out in the market, then you are losing the customers is going towards another brand, or you have lost your brand image already. So how we can regain or rejuvenate that brand?
Good question. So how do you stop churn? How do you retain customers? Other than surveys, if you haven't heard, there's a great survey product here today, so just a little plug there. Any other thoughts? How do we revive a brand? How do we re-engage?
I mean, I'll just add my 2 cents. One is that first, it needs to have a base. Like I'll take a hypothetical example. So let's say you talk about brand, which is a cult brand. Everyone knows about it. Let's say Volvo, for instance, or any other. Yeah. So there are problems which comes in when you were relevant to my grandmother, you were relevant to my mother, but because you were relevant to them, I will not choose you. Okay? So now, in that aspect, most of the brands started fading. The only linkage which came was where marketers struggle. If I make the bottle really, really swanky, it will talk to the younger set. But my bottom line, 80% is still the old people which are there, which are contributing to my bottom line. So how do I transition? And most of the brands actually have that struggle, and they try and see how they can, maybe it's a substitute that they will introduce, or they will try and bring both the audiences into the picture and see that how it is relevant and how it has grown over the ages and all that. Education is one angle which we generally use in terms of linkage, and then try and see how we can make the brand relevant in that instant for the new generation as well, to see it doesn't fade. But that happens.
So let me add another core reality here. So we all are talking about how do we keep on selling and informing people about that we exist, right? But the fundamental problem sometimes is engineering problem, right? That's very, very critical. So let me give you an example. A very famous automobile giant, right, had a loss over the last year, was not able to make the returns, right? You know why? And I don't want to name the brand right now. It's a very well-known brand, loved by almost everyone, right? Because it is very cost competitive, right? You get the mileage as you need, it's comfortable, and then whatever. Today they are losing market share because there are other brands coming and providing the same thing, right? The USP was, the price point, and they were able to meet the price point as well, right? And the other brands are providing equal comfort or more comfort. What is the engineering problem here? The one that I'm talking about, which actually ended up seeing a lot of losses, is not safe anymore, right? So the other ones are coming with the same price point and actually talking about much more safer, engineering product, right? Modern age engineering product. So what would a marketer do, right? Marketer sitting here is saying, okay, fine, I have to bring people to my platform, have them buy my, my car, but that's not selling because there is an engineering problem. So as a marketer, it's very important that we understand and appreciate what is the background of my own business, right? What are new invention happening, right? What I can actually give back to my engineering team so that they innovate, right? Or R&D team to innovate so that I can sell easily, right? So selling is a secondary. The primary thing is about your product, how strong your product and reliable your product is, right? Then only you can market it, yeah?
So again, back to knowing your customer base and your target market, and then market segmentation. So understanding which markets are performing well, or which segments are performing well, and which segments are waning. Maybe something you want to try. Colin's got some thoughts.
Okay, so just a thought, this is talking about legacy brands and making sure that they're relevant to modern day times, right? So I was working for a brand called Axe. They make this kind of little liquid that you put on your neck when you're hot, when you've got a headache and things like this. And, it's third generation business. So they've been around for over 90 years. The third generation is taking over, saying, actually, all our customers are aging. Nobody young is buying our product anymore. What can we do? And, I just wanted to bring in one other extra element to think about, and that's creativity. Because I think that, you can be all this, clever kind of techniques and segmentations, all this kind of stuff, but it comes down to something like, so what do we want to tell young people that makes it kind of fun and relevant and exciting and gives it a refreshment of where you're at? And that's something that you can still do. So in the case of Axe, I came up with this line, it's very simple. Axe the pain, axe the itch. And then we did this really kind of light-hearted kind of photography kind of campaign that we ran in all the kind of distribution points. It really then connected much more with younger people who then saw it as a little bit more humorous. It wasn't just a brand for their grandmothers or for their mothers. It's actually something that I could use myself. So sometimes creativity in the way that you do things and what you say can make a major difference to making sure that your brand still stays relevant in the marketplace.
Allysha?
So I like to bring out an example, which is Bonia. Bonia is a local brand that has been used by our grandmother, our mothers, and all that. But the product, the brand is aging. So what they did was they hired influencers, they changed their whole design line and make it more appealing to their new target market. So the question for you now is, does your target market remain the same, or do you change your target market? Are you growing old with your previous target market, or do you want to shift it to a new target market? So that's what you need to focus. Yeah.
Yep, and often a brand splitting strategy is employed by other legacy brands. So starting a whole new brand to target that new segment. Okay, great comments. Thank you, everyone. Just looking at Matali here, ain't you?
All right, so can we have a big round of applause for a wonderful session? I believe I have avoided some of the questions in the back, so I apologize, and we can take the questions in the networking break. So, missed the question from Deepika and Amit too. So, I request everyone to come forward for a quick group fee. And can we have a music in the background so we can have a feel that we have given a wonderful panel discussion together and the memories that we can cherish for today and forever.